thing that pushes Bad Religion and really gave it a shot in the arm over the last 3 records was Brooks. I mean, that guy shreds, right? And when that guy, you know, when I write a song and that guy plays the drums to it, yeah, it's like, you know, he can go up against any 18-year-old, you know, and most of them, he'll kick their ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, that guy is a monster.
I had never met the guys in Bad Religion prior to my audition, and from what I heard, my name just kept on coming up. I was always impressed by what they sang about. I really didn't know what to expect.
In general, to be a viable punk band in the 80s in Los Angeles, you had to have a fast drummer. Didn't have to be a good drummer, but you had to be fast. And now, go fast forward to the 90s and now in the aughts, and you have to be not only a fast drummer, you have to be a very skilled drummer.
I mean, my first impression walking in, and because of the reputation of Bad Religion, you know, I thought they were going to be doing like science projects in the rehearsal hall and, you know, with a Bunsen burner or something. So I was a little intimidated at first just because I never met the guys, yet I knew they were really smart. It was the first song, Stranger Than Fiction. It's my first song I played with them, and yeah, it just felt great. Brett called me up and asked if I would be interested, and of course I was.
When he came into the band, it's like, okay, I've never even seen anybody like you. You're insane.
Fast forward 7 years later, and you know, we're still at it.
That elevated Bad Religion to a level that put us on par with any of the bands out there.
One of the great things about this band is that everyone has unique personalities. There's no, you know, there's not like 5 Bretts or 5 Jays or 5 Gregs.
And somehow we ended up infiltrating the system, which is the music business, and getting involved and actually changing the way it's run, really.
Our message has always been consistent and strong and real.
And in a punk band, it's all about the drums and vocals. Guitar's fine, you know, but the guitar's just like, you know, it's not about guitars in a punk band. In a metalcore band, yeah. In a metal band, yeah. Maybe even a hardcore band. In punk music, drums and vocals, man. They've got to have the energy, and they've got to have that intensity. They've got to be locked, and they have to be aggressive, and they have to be intense.
This one is a Eric Clapton signature.
Really?
Without Eric Clapton's signature.
Graffin never lost that from. I mean, he's still one of the most exceptional vocalists in all of music, as far as I'm concerned. And Brooks brings that musicianship in the drums. And you know, if I can write the tune, then the rest of it just gets filled in. You know?
I think we went in to record New Maps to Hell. Our approach was, let's go in, not spend a whole lot of time, not overthink, and go in and make an aggressive sounding, but not too raw record.
Yeah, not to say that I like one album better than the other, but you know, it just almost like a back to basics feel, which I love.
The new album is hard and confrontational and energetic. You know, it's the songwriting, but it's also the musicianship. If anything, I think our legacy is that of a working rock band who cares about their craft, who cares about making good rock music, who were never the biggest band in the world, but always had their fans and did their music and had their style and had their worldview and did it because they loved it.
Part of a legacy must be told by another person, and I just hope that the person who tells the Bad Religion story is a good scholar and a careful writer.
As a kid growing up, I was influenced by the music that was around me, so it was like, you know, 70s pop and, you know, and the Beatles and the Stones and CSNY.
From that, I was exposed to some of the heavier stuff, you know, some of the hard rock stuff they play on the top 40 stations, and it got me into rock and then heavy metal. I was in high school Photoshop class, and one day one of the kids came in and he had a punk flyer like on his notebook. He kind of like thought I was going to give him a hard time. I was like, yeah, I like punk rock.
There were no punks in our school at all. And so Tom said, hey, there's these 2 other punk rockers in the school. You should meet them, and you could be a band. So I said, okay. So Tom introduced us, and it turned out that Greg could sing, And Jay didn't play any instruments, so we decided he'd play bass. Our first rehearsal was in Jay Ziskraut's mom's living room.
We were all sitting around trying to come up with a name. I think Vaginal Discharge was one of them, because we thought, always being enterprising, we thought that would make a good logo, VD. It may have been our first drummer, Jay Ziskraut, who mentioned it, but we had to somehow, how can we do better than Vaginal Discharge? You've got to, of course, make it more masculine. We can't talk about a woman's problem, so he came up with smegma. And we all thought, I think we're onto something here.
It was right when televangelism was coming into its own. So you had Jerry Falwell was in the news, and Jimmy Swaggart. I mean, it was pretty unheard of to have people saying, send $15 to your TV set and it'll go to Jesus, you know. And so these guys started saying that stuff.
Brett came parading into practice with this big poster that he had made, which was the Crossbuster. And everybody right then knew this band is called Bad Religion.
I think technically my first gig playing a whole set was filling in for Jay, who had another gig. And I remember my leg, I had like messed my leg up somehow, I think playing hockey. I was using a mic stand or something as a crutch or a cane, and it was really painful. I'm like trying to play this big heavy bass and take, try to avoid dodging the stage divers and everything, and trying to remember how to play the songs on bass because I'm not really a bass player.